Good Saturday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Saturday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about for tonight, as it is a pretty kind of like a pretty normal night tonight. Not too much. Obviously, we are a bit behind, obviously, due to me being out, but we're back. So we're just going to go on and get through this so we can hopefully be out by around like 9:40, 9:45-ish. That's what I'm aiming for. That's the goal, even though it's already almost 9:30, so probably like 9:50-ish. So, we'll see what happens there. But we're not going to waste any time. Let's just go on and see what is on tap for tonight. Because as we start off, you can see, for the most part, mostly quiet and dry tonight through the weekend. Reminder, it says mostly. Didn't say 100% quiet and dry tonight, as we do have some rainfall going on throughout the state. Significant warming trend continues through this weekend, tomorrow going into Monday. Strong backdoor cold front early next week, but no major hazards are really anticipated as we go into just like the short to long term future. So, looking like it's going to just continue to be just maybe some rainfall here and there, some cold blast moving through, some warm ups coming through, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy at all. So, let's go on and look at the live radar. So currently, right now, we do have some rainfall going on. You see it over there near Joanna, Newberry, Winsboro, Whitmer, as well, or Whitmire, as over there inside of South Carolina. Also up here near Boiling Springs, going near Gaffney, Spartanburg, Travelers Rest, Pickens. All of these areas receiving some rainfall as we speak up here inside of the upstate. And so these storms were, or these showers, if they're still storms now, they were producing some rainfall, some obviously rainfall, but obviously I mean storm activity a bit earlier, and it seems like that they still are. Seems like that they are still are. I mean, you see like a 91% chance over here for this shower over here. You see around an 86% chance up here inside of the upstate. So for right now, it looks like that these still are producing thunderstorm activities. Now, if we go in and look and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., well, we do in fact have some rainfall, some snowfall going on inside of New York, going on inside of Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Rainfall and snowfall also going on over here near North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and going on also inside of the UP of Michigan. You also do have some rainfall over here in Montana, Wyoming. And then look at how dry it is from like Georgia all the way over into California, including even Florida. I mean, Florida is dry right now. I mean, when's the last time we've seen that? But for the most part, not a whole lot going on except for up there in the northern parts of the U.S. and then just down here where we are in the Carolinas, where there also is a storm moving just to the east of Charlotte, around like 30 miles per hour. So nothing too crazy, 30 mile per hour wind gust over there. Now for cloud cover, looks like we have some cloud cover inside the upstate. I mean, you see cloud cover in the Midlands, the Grand Strand areas. Looks like cloud cover for sure is going on. And with some of that cloud cover also comes that threat of some clearing, or that potential for some clearing inside of like the low country areas, the Midland areas. And, you can see it right here at around 9 o'clock p.m. Look at how clear it's trying to get from the parts of the low country to parts of the Midland areas. Even if we go in and move our way through, here's 10 o'clock, going into 11 o'clock and even to 12 o'clock in the morning, you can see easily cloud cover continuing to try to move its way over towards the south and east, kind of away, or almost towards the south and west, almost kind of away from that North Carolina, South Carolina border. And so that goes all the way through 12 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to 4 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 8 a.m. We still have cloud cover going on, but definitely not a lot. I mean, you see like the low country areas, definitely a lot clear. The southern Midlands, clear. Upstate, clearing out. And look at tomorrow afternoon. Here's noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I mean, just nice conditions as we go into tomorrow afternoon. This is what we want to see as we go into tomorrow. Nice, dry conditions. Now, as we go all the way through here, 7 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, going all the way to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock in the morning on Monday, we have a little bit of some more cloud cover moving its way through, but as we go on and push this forward even more, cloud cover will try to regain itself on Monday and trying to cover the entire state. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 68 in Somerville, 66 in Charleston, as well as 72 in Beaufort, 70 Hilton Head Island, as well as 71 in Orangeburg. You also do have around a good 68 in Georgetown, 65 in Murray's Inlet, as well as 62 in Myrtle Beach, 66 in Conway, as well as 71 in Sumter, 72 in Florence, and even 71 in Hartsville, 72 in Columbia, and 69 in Newberry, 69 Greenwood, and 71 in Anderson, 68 in Greenville and Spartanburg, as well as Gaffney, 69 York as well. Air quality for tonight, looks pretty good. Moderate throughout most of the state, but that's pretty normal. We have a little bit of an orange area over there near Augusta, and right near that border over there with Georgia. But that's really just like a little unhealthy for sensitive groups for tonight. So nothing, like I said, nothing like too crazy that we're really watching for. But we do have a moderate out for pretty much most of the state. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around 58 in Greenville, 57 in Spartanburg, as well as 57 in Rock Hill, 58 in Sharon, 58 in Dillon, 59 Florence, and 61 in Columbia, Sumter, Orangeburg, Charleston, 63 in Hilton Head Island, 60 in Aiken and Moncks Corner, even 59 in Georgetown. High temperatures for tomorrow, you have around 85 in Greenville, 86 in Spartanburg, as well as 86 in Rock Hill, 88 in Sharon, 87 in Dillon, 88 in Florence, Sumter, 89 in Columbia, and 87 in Aiken, Barnwell, Orangeburg, Walterboro, 82 in Charleston, 84 in Georgetown, 77 in Myrtle Beach, and 82 in Hilton Head Island. Rainfall for tonight, pretty acceptable to say that there will be some rainfall falling throughout the state, as we currently have a good amount falling throughout the state right now. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch goes out from Greenville to Spartanburg to Rock Hill, Cheraw to Sumter, Camden, Columbia. Maybe even a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch over there for Newberry, Lawrence. Quarter of an inch to a half an inch potentially for Winsboro, and honestly, some other areas could potentially be included in there as well. Some isolated pockets here and there could potentially get up to a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. So definitely, just because your name or your town name, area where you live is not listed on here does not mean that you will not be a part of some of these higher groups. So just make sure that you know that and you see where your area is and where the color code is compared to what's on the left side. Now, that goes all the way from now until around 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. Now until around 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. Now for the crazy score. This is not the right crazy score. This was from this morning. Let me see. What is it? Actually, it is actually the crazy score for tonight. Actually, I take that back. I thought it was the same one from yesterday. No, it's actually the same thing, which, in my opinion, I'm just going to be honest, don't agree with it. Remember, I don't make the crazy scores. The scores are made, are automated. Don't agree with it. And the reason why it's so low, it's because it comes from what the National Weather Service said. And so what the National Weather Service said was that, the rainfall that was moving in, it wasn't really going to be that bad. It was going to be kind of lower. And obviously there's thunderstorms going on, but there are storms going on throughout the state. And so what they had was that there was not really any major hazards, precipitation is not really going to happen as much. And, obviously that's not what's occurring. So a bit of a disagreement there just due to what the National Weather Service said. But if I was to put it, I would say more of like around that moderate category, as there are storms going on. There are minor storms going on right now. Now for the SPC outlook, thunderstorms for tonight, obviously severe weather was definitely possible earlier. We saw a strong thunderstorm of up to 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts moving throughout parts of the state as we went into earlier this evening throughout the upstate. That is now obviously gone, and now we just have a bunch of rainfall kind of just moving its way through now. Now, in terms of tomorrow, nothing, Monday. Monday, we actually do have a risk of some severe weather here. This is Monday, March the 23rd, 2026. We have a marginal risk of severe weather for Columbia, Aiken, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Hilton Head Island. All of these areas right here, thunderstorm activity is going on. And so, with that thunderstorm activity, there will potentially be that threat of some severe activity. Now, the hazards aren't presented yet just because it's still 3 days out. You got to wait until tomorrow to see what the hazards are, so tune in tomorrow evening if you want to see what that is. Now, for the fire weather outlook, nothing for tonight or tomorrow, but also, not only do we have a risk of severe weather on Monday, fire weather is also potentially going to be a concern on Monday as well. We have a critical fire weather condition on the opposite side of the state. Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Columbia. So, right where that marginal risk cuts off at is kind of like right where that fire risk kind of begins up there inside of the upstate. And so, due to dry conditions, gusty winds, that will cause some fire concern, and especially with dry conditions as well. So, the upstate and like the northern Midlands, maybe the northwestern PD areas are going to be watching out for fire weather on Monday, while the low country, Midlands, southern Midlands, Grand Strand, most of the PD area, going to be focusing on severe weather. Now that's going to shift, it's going to change, so, this is not final. We have to wait until the day of to really see what happens here. Now, excessive rainfall is not expected. Excessive rainfall is not expected as we move throughout the next 5 days. So, as we just continue our way throughout, like the next 5 to 8 days or so, not really too much is expected here. So let's go in and look at the models. Remember the times at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure you go in and pay attention to that, because that is very, very, very important to pay attention to, because if you lose track of that, you're not gonna know where we're gonna be at. So that is very important. So let's go in and check that out right now. Starting off here at the 18Z, and we're gonna start at 9 o'clock p.m. as always. And one thing that I will say is that it still does have this rainfall going on throughout the state, so that is still going on. And even as we move into around 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, you still see rainfall going on throughout the state of South Carolina by the time we get to around 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, still rainfall activity going on. Now, it will really dissipate, once we get to around 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we actually start to get dry, like really dry. I mean, we move all the way through Monday, nice and dry, all the way into Monday afternoon. Now, after that, we can't really see anything else too much further than that, because that is 48 hours out. So that's where this stops at. But tomorrow we'll see a more in-depth look and look at that severe weather as well. And kind of what I was seeing was I was looking about how that fire weather risk and how that severe weather risk would kind of interact with one another, and what's the timing for each one of those risk. And so it looks like that we're staying dry for the majority of the beginning part, but then you start to see some moisture maybe trying to move its way down during the afternoon and the evening part. So I think that's what the main concern is there. And so even if you go into the NAM 3 kilometer model, which shows even past that point, you can definitely see rainfall going on. 5 o'clock p.m. on Monday, moving through on 8 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 p.m. as well. So even though, like I said, there's still both of those risks there for fire and severe weather, definitely seem like that the fire risk is going to be more of a morning, maybe early afternoon type deal, and then maybe the severe weather will be like a little bit later into the evening. Now, if areas don't get rainfall and it's still gusty, you're still going to have fire weather conditions going on all the way throughout the evening time as well. So that's something to still keep in mind. Now, what about for the long-term future? So past Monday, we're getting all the way through here, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock p.m. There goes that severe weather trying to move its way throughout the state. And so what do we have? And so what we can see for the most part is that it is nice and dry. We go through Tuesday, Wednesday comes along, still pretty dry. Friday comes along, still dry. Even as we go into Friday night, going into Saturday, like early morning. So after this week, going into next week, we see rainfall going on throughout the state. You have some snowfall going on potentially up there inside of North Carolina, but nothing for us here inside of South Carolina, except for just some rainfall. Now that goes all the way through Saturday. Sunday comes along, still looking pretty dry, and again, I'm not seeing anything too concerning. You're not seeing any big storm systems. You're not seeing excessive rainfall, severe weather as much. And when I say severe weather, I mean organized severe weather, where we're talking about, a huge damaging wind threat or a huge tornado threat or a huge hail threat. You obviously will have your marginal risk here and there of your strong storms. But for the most part, I don't see anything that's concerning. And so we've been talking about this for the past couple of days, and how just the rest of March just looks pretty tame, and that we don't have too much to really watch for. And so if we go in and look at the temperature anomalies, because obviously that's the only thing that's actually kind of showing something, and we start off here at around Saturday, The main thing I think that most people in the state are talking about weather-wise is the cold air blast that's going to move through next week. Not only throughout the beginning of next week, but also throughout the late parts of next week as well. You can see as we go throughout this weekend, we're above average. I mean, we're 20 degrees above average. We're having fun in the sun. Everything's looking great, right? But then we go into Monday. This is Monday morning going into Monday afternoon. Look at how that temperature shifts, and we now start to see below average temperatures. Now, not bad. I mean, you see negative 10, and when I say negative 10, I mean 10 degrees below average. And again, just nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. I mean, we've seen temperatures 5 to 10 degrees below average, maybe 15 in some spots here. But, nothing crazy as we move throughout next week. Next week is going to be pretty chilly to once you get towards especially that early to middle part of the week. Because Monday obviously is going to be a lot warmer. Then we move into Thursday and Friday, and what do you notice? Nice, warm conditions coming back, looking like we're having some more fun in the sun, and you think, okay, well, it's over. I mean, we're having warm air again. We're going to have fun going into the weekend. Everything's going to be fine. Well, unfortunately, Friday comes along and says no, and brings a bunch of cold air right behind it, and this time we could potentially see temperatures 20 to 25 degrees below average as we go into the weekend of next week. So, not the greatest thing if you're a warm weather fan. If you're a cool weather fan, you love this probably. But if you're a warm weather fan, obviously you don't like this. You don't want to see this. But it's looking like that this is going to happen. I mean, we're now 168 hours out. We're now getting kind of away from that week out mark now. We're getting out of that time frame. Or at least we're about to enter that time frame pretty much. Yeah, we're actually just getting out of that week time frame, getting more into the 6-day time frame or so. And so the fact that this is still here and it's been consistent throughout the past couple of days in terms of models guidance, and we've seen it kind of fluctuate from maybe being a bit more below average, maybe being a bit more higher than average. But for right now, it's looking like a cool down is definitely coming at the end of next week. And that continues all the way throughout the week after next week as well. I mean, getting to Monday, March the 30th, and we still have cool conditions coming in. It's not really until we get into around, Wednesday, Thursday that things may try to warm up, but don't worry. More cool air coming back as you get into Thursday and Friday of the week after next week, going into April the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. So, overall, it just does not look like a great time for warm weather fans, but it is definitely going to get warmer as we continue our way through. And also remember, these are just averages. These aren't temperatures. So just because it is, below average here, that doesn't mean that it's going to be like down to like the 30s and 40s. Because as we get more and more into April, more and more into May, those below average temperatures are going to be not as cold as like below average temperatures for March or for February. Now, if we go in and look at the actual temperatures, because I think that's what most people really care about, we start off here Sunday, 2 o'clock in the morning, tomorrow morning, or at about a couple hours or so. You push this forward, and Sunday is looking nice. I mean, we have 80s going on throughout the state. We go into Monday, 80s throughout the state. We go into Tuesday, there goes the little cool down coming through. Highs getting to like the 60s or so. Lows getting down into like the 40s or so. But nothing really below freezing. We have some more 60s, potentially some 70s on Wednesday. Thursday comes along, and we may start to see some 70s, maybe even some 80s as we go into Thursday. And then Friday, all 80s. I mean, it just looks like we're having just such a nice start to the day. But then as we get into the nighttime hours of Saturday going into Saturday morning, that's when things will change. And that timing will change around as well. That's still 6 days out. So, temperature is starting to get back down into the 40s or so. High temperatures trying to get just up into like the 50s and 60s for next weekend. And then for the most part, it definitely does look like that those cold temperatures will try to stay with us for as long as they can until the next cold blast moves through going into Friday, like April the 2nd, April the 3rd or so. And, I mean, that's pretty much all that I can really talk about in terms of long-term future, in terms of the temperatures. We can look at the ensembles as well. Ensembles just show what's the averages, what are the patterns looking like, what are the temperature patterns looking like. So we're going to start off here at the 200-hour mark, or at least near it. And as you go in and push this forward, I mean, you can see our temperature is definitely trying to climb back up as we get into like the first couple of days of April, according to the ensembles. But it stays up into the 70s a little bit and doesn't really drop too much further than that. And I think that that's about all that really is to be said here. It doesn't really say too much in terms of. Actually, it kind of does, but not really too much. It doesn't really say too much in terms of Tuesday. But again, it's an ensemble, so it's just really just to check out the patterns within, check out stuff like that. But that's all that I can see here. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Also, just so you know, if it was me, I would go on and try and get anything done. If you have to get anything done outside next weekend, or if you're trying to plan to do that, obviously with that cold air coming through Friday night going into Saturday, the timing right now says do it probably the day before. But, we'll see what happens as we get closer and closer into that weekend time frame, and I'll let you know for sure what days you need to be getting your stuff done. But, I mean, tomorrow's looking dry, so if you need to get anything done tomorrow, even though I know a lot of people don't do stuff on Sundays, but, if you want to do something tomorrow, that's definitely possible. Monday, it's possible before the cold air moves in, and then obviously next weekend it's going to cool down. So, anything that you need to get done before next weekend, I try to do it during the week, especially when it's not raining outside. So let's see what the chat has to say for tonight. My Aunt Lewis says, good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking. Today in Georgetown, we had a beautiful, sunny, and warm day. Hello, nephew. I kept checking to see if you were on. I'm glad that you were able to make it. Well, thank you for that. Yes, I was. I was out. So that is why I was a bit late tonight. Churro says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. My name says, hello, Jay. Hope your outing was good. It was. Thank you so much for asking. Churro then says, it's storming here. It sounds like it's ending, but still some rain. Well, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are. Maya Lewis says, currently we are at 71 degrees. Well, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Maya Lewis says, I was hoping to get some rain for my garden today. Wow, more cold weather today. More cold weather today was so nice. Yeah, I mean, we still have tomorrow and we still have Sunday. So, tomorrow is Sunday. We still have tomorrow and we still have Monday, excuse me. And then after that, that's when things will start to get a bit cold. That says, good evening, just from the 360 Weather family. Good evening to you. I'm trusting all is well with everyone. It was a beautiful day here in San Antonio. High of 93, perfect for melting ice cream, but not so great for melting away. I spent some time outside soaking up these rays and enjoying a family outing with the family. Currently 84 degrees. Well, thank you so much for that weather update for where you are, and I'm glad that you were able to go on and get some stuff done with your family. And that's all that I can see here throughout the audience for tonight. So, I'm going to go on real quick and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 locations outside of South Carolina. What are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their forecast for them. So we're going to start off real quick with San Antonio, as we always do, with low temperatures tonight at 60, high temperature for tomorrow at 93, low temperatures tomorrow night at 59, precipitation not expected at this time, severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected either. Now, in terms of your future, it does look like that you will kind of continue to kind of go down in terms of your temperatures Monday and Tuesday, getting to the high 80s, but you will climb right back up, 91 on Wednesday, Thursday 92, but you will kind of die down going into next weekend, 83 on Saturday. That will change and that will jump here and there, but for right now, 83 on Saturday of next week. Other than that, though, you have no rainfall. I mean, you may have some days to where it might be a bit breezy, gusts as high as 20 miles per hour, but, I mean, for the most part, just looks relatively fine. Relatively fine. Now, if we go on and look at Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 57, high temperature for tomorrow at 87, then low temperatures tomorrow night at 66. Precipitation is not expected at this time, and there is indeed no severe weather, no excessive rainfall. You're not worrying about that or anything, except for on Monday, to where there is a bit of a fire weather threat. Nothing's, thunderstorm or excessive rainfall wise, but a little bit of a fire threat on Monday, March the 23rd. Just make sure you're not burning anything on Monday if you don't have to. Same thing for South Carolina as well. Now, in terms of your future, it looks like that, again, not really any precipitation until maybe late next week, Friday night, Saturday. You may be a bit breezy on Monday, gusts as high as 25 miles per hour potentially possible. But for the most part, staying dry. Staying dry. For your temperatures will actually drop as that cold air moves its way through. Monday getting down to 81. 60 on Tuesday, 67 on Wednesday. And then we'll start to climb back up 74 Thursday, 80 on Friday. And then next week, Saturday, going to die back down to 60. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 44, high temperature for tomorrow at 74, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 44 as well. This is definitely the more active, or the most active area, because Philadelphia is just, for some reason, always just has some sort of rainfall going on, or just something in the future. It's just always something going on. Nothing, the other three locations could be absolutely dry, but Philadelphia will always just have something going on with it. But, from what I can see here, showers are expected tomorrow night, tonight and tomorrow during the day. Showers, not expected. We're not expecting any sort of rainfall. Some rainfall possible on Monday as well. You have an 80% chance on Monday. And then temperatures for you are going to die down. 55 Monday, 50 on Tuesday. But then they'll start to climb back up a little bit on Thursday, but then die right back down to Saturday at 50. So, severe weather. You actually do have a chance for some severe weather on Sunday, March the 22nd. You're under a slight risk of severe weather. Well, what are the risks? Well, your main two, honestly, because both of them pretty much are together, damaging winds and damaging hail. In fact, probably it's like, it's kind of split between the two. You might as well include yourself in there. But damaging winds, damaging hail possible tomorrow. And then there is a small 2% risk of tornado, so that means that you have a chance for an isolated tornado or two to occur. So make sure that you are prepared for it. Have your severe weather plans in place just in case you get that severe thunderstorm warning, that tornado warning, and you'll be ready and know what to do. Now, it looks like for the most part that's going to be during like the nighttime hours more than likely, so not really going to be too much in terms of the daytime. And then in terms of Duncan, Oklahoma, the last location with low temperatures tonight at 62, high temperature for tomorrow at 96, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 53. Precipitation, not expected at this time. Not for the next 7 days. It's going to be a bit gusty tomorrow. Gust as high as 30. Tomorrow night, 31. 25 to 30 on Monday. Just continuing to go on and kind of be a bit breezy as you go throughout the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Now, for your rainfall's, again, like I said, not expected, but so it will continue to stay dry. Temperatures will kind of die down a little bit on Monday to 73, but go right back up. 87 on Tuesday, 93 on Wednesday, 95 on Thursday, and then will die down as you go into next weekend. And that's all that I can see here throughout the entire 4 areas. Oh, no, I missed something. For Duncan, tomorrow there is a critical fire weather condition concern for tomorrow, so make sure that you're not burning anything tomorrow. You are in a level 2 out of 3, so that is pretty high. That's pretty high up there. Not a level 1 out of 3, a level 2 out of 3. So make sure, like I said, you're not burning anything tomorrow, as it's just not the right day to do so. Not the right day to do so. And then also for Philadelphia, there is an isolated chance for some flash flooding tomorrow night as well, so just keep that in mind as well. And that's pretty much all I have to say here. So a good amount of stuff going on for, I know, really just Philadelphia, but also we just saw over there inside of Duncan as well, some stuff going on over there. And that's all that I can see here. So let's go on real quick and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, right now, as we go on and check it out, a rare March heat wave is ongoing with much above normal temperatures over the southwest U.S. through this weekend. Periods of critical fire weather will persist from the central Rockies to the central and the southern plains through this weekend as gusty winds and low relative humidity continues. A Kona low will also continue to bring several rounds of moderate to heavy rainfall to Hawaii through Sunday. They've been having some flash flooding over there in Hawaii for the past couple of days now. And for the most part, I think it's about to end off. So they should be getting a little bit of relief, but for right now, it still is ongoing. Now, in terms of, winter storm warnings going on up there inside of New Hampshire, inside of Maine, you have some winter weather advisories up there as well. They're going to see some winter weather. Also, probably the main thing that most people are talking about, the severe weather for tomorrow. There is a chance of severe weather. We talked about it, I think, if not a bit last night, than the night before last. But I think it was probably last night. We do have a slight risk of severe weather for Philadelphia, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Louisville, Kentucky. Those areas have a chance for some thunderstorms tomorrow, some of them being severe, level 2 out of 5. Then there's a level 1 out of 5 for parts like New York City, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Newark, New Jersey. If you know anyone in those areas, let them know. There is chance of severe weather for them as well as you go into tomorrow. Again, the main threat mainly actually being damaging hail, because there is a 15% hatch risk, meaning that there is also a chance that it could potentially get up to 2 inches in diameter as you go into tomorrow. But I think that's about all that I have to say here. So let me check out the top fans of the night for tonight. Well, let me see this real quick. My list says I will definitely enjoy this nice weather while it lasts. Absolutely. And then Thad says, Philadelphia always reminds me of the Bruce Springsteen song, The Streets of Philadelphia. Well, honestly, it just keeps on being active. Always active. And that's all that I can see here. So let's go on and check out the top fans of the night for tonight. Honestly, I did not see Mr. Chris tonight. So we have a new number 1. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, yep. My outlook is at number 1 for tonight. Thad's at number 2. And then Trail is at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. early. Also being active inside the chat and being a subscriber. Because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type in general. So let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. And that's all that I have to say. I don't see, let me make sure there's nothing inside of my email real quick. Nothing here. Again, hit the like button if you have not already. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. We are at 724, trying to get to 800, one away from 725. Also, share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it's free and you can change your mind at any time. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Sunday morning forecast update. Make sure that you're there. And then also tomorrow evening for your Sunday evening forecast update. We will be talking about the last full week of March. I can't believe it. Last full week of March in terms of our weather. March the 22nd going into March the 28th. Make sure that you're there for that tomorrow.